Hey, you guys, this is Shamika with Dear Shamika, the podcast. I have a special guest with us today. We got C. Taylor, and he's going to talk about his experience being a high earning bachelor. So, C, what field are you in, or what do you do for a living?
I own a construction company. We install, test, and repair water meters for different counties and municipalities around the country.
Okay. And what do you consider high earning?
We're gonna say at least a quarter mil, at least 250,000 a hire.
Okay. So, we're going to get straight into it. So, being that you're a high earner now, and at some point, like before you became a high earner, what did you do? What was your trade?
A college student. I jumped straight in. Yeah, I was at the University of Memphis. I graduated that December. May I had my first contract. So I jumped straight in.
The business owner in me is, how did you do it?
Mentors, mentorship. I met some great people that worked for Memphis. They had moved to Nashville, started a business, but they were ready to retire. So the young kid, business management. He seems like he knows everything. So they plugged me in, taught me quite a few things, and we tried to go in business together. I learned a few lessons there, and eventually I branched off to be in my own, and I just went for it.
Okay. So dating different now that you're a high earner? And if so, how so?
In my personal opinion, I would say no. Uh, like I said, I jumped straight out of college, so you're still amongst a lot of your post college friends and people that you know. And as I've traveled, you don't you're busy, so it's kind of I don't say hard to meet a new person, but you're focused. And sometimes taking away from that focus can be dangerous, right, for your business. But you meet people, you meet great people, and I've met great women all across the world. But it's give or take, I'll say.
Okay. Can you expand on that?
Well, it's as you begin to increase on your income and things like that, you're naturally more busy. You're on the road, right? Your schedule is definitely hectic. You have to be a planner well ahead, right? And for somebody that isn't at that level yet, that could seem spontaneous or erratic, right? Because they're used to their routine. For me, I've Monday I'm in Florida, Tuesday I'm in California, and Wednesday we're in Texas, right? And for someone, a partner, that's kind of hard because it takes a lot of trust, right? It takes a lot of believing in your partner, and for that, at a young age, a lot of women aren't ready for that that I've experienced. I'm not gonna speak for all of y'all, but for the women I've met, sometimes it's kind of hard because being left at home, right? He's on the road for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month. Of course, I meet people so that insecurity or doubt may appear. I've been faithful, but those insecurities are definitely present. So it's something to
Mhm.
maintain in a relationship, and establishing something deep with that person.
Okay. So when you were in college, would you call yourself a confident person?
Very much so. Yeah,
Okay. So you already had a sense of confidence before the money came along.
yeah. As I've been doing things.
So do you feel, because I feel a lot of, and these could be my personal beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
I feel a lot of people validate themselves by the amount of money they earn. So they may not necessarily be confident prior to the money. So now is, I have money or I have wealth. Now I can date the type of women I want to date. Would you say due to your confidence you were already dating the type of women you wanted to date?
Absolutely. But I have a humble heart. When you say a type of woman, we're gonna have to expand on that. Like, what exactly is she that we're talking
The
about?
type, when I say your type, is personal preferences. So a man may be attracted to a woman and say, you know what, she looks like she's out of my league, or
Mm,
she's too attractive for me to approach her. So I'm not confident enough to do so. But now that I'm established
mm.
and I have money, now I can approach the type of women I want to date. So I'm just saying,
Uh,
prior to you having money, were you still approaching your preference or the type of women you wanted physically, or did it
yes.
just start when you start? Okay.
I got a little charm on me. So it's never been hard to walk into a room and get an attention, right? I take pride in carrying myself well, dressing as well as my smell, cologne, things like that. It doesn't take the money. Once I started to get money, I actually moved backwards as far as, like I said, I'm naturally confident, but I humbled myself, right? I didn't want to attract unnecessary attention. I didn't want anybody looking at me, oh, because he got money, right? I've had friends, I had female friends say, oh, he think he all that since he got that money, right? But they forget that I was myself well before I got a dollar on me, and he do have money. I'm somebody, I probably even more humble. It's just how I move. I'm confident, but I'm not flashy. That's not my style.
Okay. So they feel like, oh, you got the money, you've changed. How do they feel you've changed since you've acquired money?
Uh, there's ways you dress different. Your taste in things are different, right? The places you hang
Absolutely.
out, I'm not going down no, in the middle of nowhere. I have things to lose, right? So it's I wouldn't put myself in a position to lose what I got. So once you get that to that level, you start moving a lot differently. And I think naturally, someone who hasn't had that sum of money, it's hard to understand that, right? If you haven't, if you ever never touched that, if you've never touched it, you don't understand what that feels like. You don't understand the risk that's involved with making dangerous or erratic moves. So it's just by growing, right? Versus someone that hasn't grown, that difference, that is the change, right? You have change. I don't think anybody who has acquired money does. You go from keeping the money under the bed to going to the bank account. You're going to change. You're gonna do things different. That's natural, right? But as you acquire more, you make even better moves. You start learning more. You start reading more. It expands your mind. It expands your perspective on things. And you can expect that. If you don't, I don't think you'll be having the money long. If you're sitting still, you're not growing. You're dying. So for me, I just continue to evolve and continue to put into myself. So that change in that, and you don't line up with ideologies with the partner. Sometimes that's a bit hard, because you may be at another level, and then your partner now is falling behind, or maybe not be at that level mentally or intellectually, because that all comes with acquiring money. You have to learn the skills.
Absolutely, you have to learn the skills. How important, because I know from talking to you, you seem like a mindset type of person. Like mindset is important to you. How important is it that your partner be ambitious?
Oh, my Instagram title is "I Ambitious Mindset," so you call me out
Wow.
directly. Yeah,
Wow.
that is literally me on Instagram. I need that. I'm talking about it's to the point. If I don't feel it, I don't feel it. So if you don't have that, I'm talking about. I ain't saying it's a strike, but I definitely noticed it early on. Right, somebody that's self motivating, somebody that wants more, somebody that has their own drive. They get up and go. Right, I should not have to light any matches around here. You should already be self ignited, and I'll model myself in the same manner. Right, I'm not gonna ask you to get me started for the day. When you wake up, I'm already moving. I'm probably outside somewhere doing something. Yeah, but I also want that for my family. So it's important. It's once you look forward to that, you don't want a partner that doesn't have that, because let's say going into kids or family, that's a conflict, right? That's get up and do that, boy, or you ain't got to do that, right? That those are two different ideologies, and I can see that being a bigger problem as you go forward.
Okay. So from what I'm gathering from you, you're a high earner, but you're also ambitious. So I really have to just tap back into the ambition, because a lot of times when people aren't ambitious, they are, I don't want to say, but lazy. So it's like I have so much time, I have all the time in the world, and now I'm insecure. How do you deal with insecure people who may think they're doing something but it's just not enough?
Uh,
You give a warning, or is it just like this is a deal breaker?
at first, there's two ways to deal with that. All right, the first way I believe is a self-defeating behavior, and that's to adapt, right? To try to lessen yourself, to try to fit in, right? To make yourself not as big as you are, right? Just so that person is confident. That's friendship or relationship, and I've lost a ton of those because that insecurity that they create amongst themselves. I used to pacify it, right? But as I've gotten older, I call it now, and excuse me, I call it eat or choke. If you either going to digest it or you're gonna choke at this point. But I'm not going to force feed it, because it put me. If I can't be my full self, I'm not being me, right? So if I have to lessen myself, you're almost getting a mask of me when I talk to you or speak to you. You're not getting my truest, fullest form. And for me, I think that's already a problem for me, right? Shamika, this is a full show, right? If Shamika's not being the joyous, talkative, as well as happy person that you are, and you have to tone it down for somebody, you're not giving the experience, right? You have to cut back, and it's not what you want to present yourself as. So you have to cut yourself from that, because you're limited. It's a glass ceiling, right? I'm talking about you. You can only go so far with that, but
Wow.
you have to break past that. If not, you're holding yourself back. You have to break that glass and look. If they catch up, it's a blessing. That's friends and in relationship. It is a blessing. But if they don't, that's also not your responsibility.
Okay. So when we think about, we hear the term unequally yoked. What does that mean to you?
A few things. Naturally, and I'm from very humble beginnings, so understand. I ain't always had money. I'm talking about
Go
foundation.
ahead and break down the beginnings before you
Look,
even
look.
go into that. Go ahead and break
I'm
down
I'm
your own.
I'm from Orange Mound, and we was in Walter Simmons off Lamar starting off. I'm talking about
Haven.
project.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, come on now, real project.
Haven.
Go. And then growing up, I dealt with a bunch of hardship, family wise, and it was tough. I never had the fancy, nice things I'm talking about, but I wasn't jealous that I didn't. Right? I knew whatever I had, I'm gonna rock it. Right? I'm gonna make this me. Um, but that also fueled me, right? Because going without, that lack of, is gonna light a fire in somebody that has that ambition inside them. If you see people that's out here doing it, I want to do it just like they're doing it. I want to get it just like they're getting it, because it's possible, you know. And what we talking about? I lost track.
Your humble
My humble
beginnings.
beginnings. All right, so yeah, I've never had a lot. I left there. I moved to South Memphis, and I'll tell you where it cracked for me. But I went to the University of Memphis. My first refund check, I bought my first property, and that was the tipping point right there. And I was a smart kid. I had the full ride scholarships. I had the refund check coming back. So I was able to buy my first property. And I hustled forward, right? I turned it into a Roman house. I rented it out. I've done everything in that house, and it's made me good money. But eventually, with that money, it created freedom, right? And if once you feel that freedom, that hey, I ain't got to clock in, and all my partners clocking 40 hours, and they like, bruh, this ain't it, right? So for you to have that and just keep building on it, it makes more. But where we going next?
Equally yoked. So you
Equally
said
yoked.
you came
So
from
so so I've been with people who've not been equally yoked, and sometimes I haven't been equally yoked. Right? You've had, for me being in that humble position and not having, I've dated women that stayed out there and Whitehaven. I'm talking about the good parts when it was good, right?
the
Somebody that somebody that lives in
we're
the
from
east.
the gutter. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
really. But I'm out here in South Memphis, Orange Mound.
Right.
So
Right.
I was but I still have my energy. I still have my spirit. I'm still the same person. But now that I'm on the other end of things, I try not to judge, right? If I'm not looking at what you got, what's inside of you definitely is more important than me. What you're made of, right? Because you can have everything and be a very poor person, right? But I'm looking for somebody that is full natured as far as being real with themselves, right? Being mentally challenged daily, because that's what they're looking for. Somebody that's stretching, right? I'm talking about full stretch. You're trying to grab something that you currently can't grab, and it's possible. But naturally, you're going to be unequally yoked, especially with the male, female. We're not equals. We'll never be equals, right? But you guys
Right.
are powerful in ways that I could never catch up. Same way that I'm powerful in ways that you couldn't compare either.
Yeah.
So you can expect that, but I'm not. I'm not big on it.
Yeah, when I think equally yoked, I mean going in the same direction. So when I think of a equally yoked male and female, is we're going on in the same direction. We can't grow going in
Mm,
different directions. So having vision, you trust, or even following. I did an episode called Men Provide, Protect, and Lead.
yeah.
Going in the same direction, or even trusting your mate that I trust where you're taking us. I'm going to follow you, but I'm going to do what's necessary to make that vision come into a reality. So
Mm.
when I say equally yoked, I think growing
Mindset.
in the same direction,
And that
or
that
your partner.
that is extremely important. If not, and this is, I'm trying to not to get specific, because I'm sure I get a phone call or a text later if I do. But for example, We're just say
Oh,
we're gonna throw it for example in there
go
real quick.
ahead, throw it.
So for an example, I had a partner. She wanted the day job, right? She loved the schedule of 8 to 5. She loved the guarantee of she can clock in, and when she was clocked out, that was it. I'm a hustler first, and then I'm a businessman. So I know how to get it in ways that I'm not gonna have to clock in, right? And I can probably help you make more than if you would clock in. You know, if you just lead and listen, I help you. I'm number one cheerleader. I'm gonna be your first customer. I'm talking about I'm out there putting it out there for you because I want to see you grow. Just like it helps
Come on,
me.
cheerleader.
Right.
Yes.
I'm number one cheerleader. It helps me by you being helped, right? Even if it's just
Mhm.
a peace of mind. You know, I always have said, what if I felt ill? Right? What if I lost it all? Can I depend on you? And that not have it same way women need that security. I'd like to have that security. I never need it, of course, but it's a thought in the back of your mind. You know, is she gonna be able to carry us if it came to that point? It happens. But I it didn't last. It did not last, but I just couldn't. And she was gifted. I'm talking about well gifted. One of the women that could do hair. One of the women that knows everything, knows everybody. But she was stuck in that comfort zone, and I didn't pull her. I couldn't pull her, so I had to let her choke. So that was it.
You said she wasn't going. Oh, wow.
She gonna
Yeah.
eat or she gonna choke. She wouldn't eat. And I couldn't force feed her. So at that point, I let it naturally take its course. I didn't slow down. I had to get to where I had to get, and I'm going to continue to get there. So at that point, I didn't have time to slow down and kind of, convince her that there was a better move available that could have freed us up, and the relationship could have flourished even more. Because now you on the road, I'm on the road, we're traveling together, we're living a good life, we're experiencing new things, we're learning new things together, we're trying new things together. But if she works to 8 to 5 Monday to Friday, she got to put the vacation days in. I'm ready to leave right now.
You
So at that
own
point,
your time. You
I'm
own
ready.
your time.
Yeah, so at that point, she's not able to do that. And then, we're speaking of how sometimes you have to cut yourself back. It was the point that I couldn't live my life. I can't travel when I want to travel because I have to line it up with her schedule directly. She may get 3 days. We try and do a week, maybe. So that was a problem. But overall, it's been a journey.
So you have to date someone who has an entrepreneurial spirit.
That or can accept growing into that, right? You have
Right.
to have somebody that either they want that and they've been waiting for the right things to show up, or I've been meaning to, or something. Get some keywords that you have that ambition to lean forward. You don't per se have to be a business owner or a hustler or in it just yet, but as long as you have that drive to get to that point, we can make something work.
Okay. So focal points. So I've noticed a lot of people, and I'm not calling anyone out because Megan said I'm being messy, but I'm not calling anyone out. But what I've noticed is a lot of individuals in, I don't want to call my city out, a lot of people will use dating as a distraction from their purpose. So they never tap into their full potential because they tie everything into the validation of having a man or having a woman. I just need a woman. I just need a man, which Tamarin said on a previous episode. But how does have you ever been the type of person to give your all in a relationship and tie everything into a relationship? If not, or if so, how does a person get out of the mindset of putting everything into relationships and tapping into their purpose and then vetting a mate?
Well, I'll tell you first how to break out of it, right? Think about all those lovely relationships that you're in, Shamika. We're talking about the ones that were just really good for you. And so it felt good the whole time, but you ain't with them now, right? Right? What if you wasted your time, right? Trying to be in love so deep that you stop progress, right? If time taught you anything, I'm not gonna call the whole relationship a waste. But as far as a product that you have now as the relationship, you don't have that right now, right? So you could have used that time to do something more productive, something that had longevity into it. Um,
You seem like you've never experienced it. You've never been one to put your all in a relationship. It was more about your focus,
I
right?
have. that's how I stopped it. I realized that I was talking for myself. That was
Oh,
me.
okay,
I
okay. Because
got
you
there.
took a breather. I thought, oh, you were reflecting.
That
Okay.
was me. That was me. I had to like look. You in this relationship, and it's running, well or not. But if you're just stopping and dampening all your moves to be in this relationship, what if she's not here tomorrow? Are you satisfied with the moves that you made? Are you still on those same business decisions that she's not here, right? So you have to make decisions, and this sounds messed up, a bit selfish, right? Make sure that you are making sure self is straight first, automatically off top. Uh, if you work a job, you're gonna pay you first. You're supposed to. So in that same sense of mentality, make sure that you are absolutely secure with the decisions that you make, whether she's here or not, right? Because let's say you're making half-ass moves, right, just to satisfy her, and then let's say you hit a bump in a relationship and she's not here anymore, right? Things feel off now, right? Things feel not in the order that you wanted them to happen because all I was dependent on her, or I was making sure she would, But it's a selfish thing, but also as you get older, and this is what I learned, as you get older, and you do begin to think about family, you do think about being serious with her. You do have to make those sacrifices. I'm very much so aware of that. But if it's not looking like something that is long term, you got to make some short term decisions. It is what it is, right?
Wow.
It is.
So, how long do you give a person? Like, what is the duration of time you give a person before you say, you know what, this isn't working? And also, how do you present that conversation to them? Because you
Very.
seem very cut and dry.
Um. you have to say what's on your mind, right? We were talking about wearing that mask. I don't wear my mask long. I can't. It feels like an itch inside of me, right? And I'm going to give us the opportunity to make it work, right? After about 3 conversations of look, we need to talk about this. I don't think we're going in the same direction. I think you could do more. I think I could be doing more if you were in that position, right? But I think my focus is off. After you've had that conversation a few times, this is probably more than 3, but I think that's when you need to take notice. If you've had that conversation and your partner's not changing, we're gonna just keep sitting there getting the same result. That's a loop. I consider that a loop. You're gonna start, you're gonna go all the way around expecting new results, but then you're gonna end up back at that same square one. I can't do that loop too many times. It's a waste of time, literally. If you've given them the opportunity, you've been very clear. I'm a good communicator. I'm gonna make sure. Look, let's talk. I'm talking about we can do it at dinner. We do it at the house. It doesn't matter. But let's talk. Let's get this off. And I turn it to a therapist. Why aren't you, motivated? What's going on, right? What is it? What's wrong? Is there something I can do? So I offer myself. But after I've done all the steps that I think that I can do, at that point, I'm just about out. I'm mentally checked out probably at that point. Physically is to follow, but I'll let you. I'm not gonna kill it. I'm gonna let you kill it because you'll see what happens when we don't, align in that point a bit.
So, we're going to talk
Are we
about a
frozen?
lot.
Oh, there we go.
Since you talk about alignment, for the people that don't know, what is alignment?
Seeing eye to eye, being able to agree on the way that we think as a couple, being able to agree on what we see in the future, being able to agree to what we want out of these things. Do we want to live here? Do we want to live there? How much money we gonna make? Right? What are our lifestyles? What are we doing every day? And being able to be on the same page in that place. Because if not, I'm talking about that is a lot of lost expectations. Right? You upset because she won't do this. She upset because you ain't doing this. And I'm talking about in the future, all these moments will arise. But if you haven't even talked about them and discussed that, hey, this is what we want, you'll continuously be faced with surprises that will be uncomfortable.
Okay, you seem like you're a very deliberate and intentional person. For someone
Everything
who
from her.
doesn't date with intention, what advice would you give them on what dating with intention is and how to date with intention?
Have a plan for you and her, and the same thing for the female partner. Don't just be shacking up with somebody you don't see a future with. Right? If you and it's fun for the moment. It's exciting. It's a thrill, and I'm guilty. It's a thrill, but there's no results of that. Right? That's like taking a driver's test that you ain't gonna get no license for. I'm talking about how many times you want to take it. Right? Jump out and find you something that's going to get you your results, right? Find you something that's going to it at least looks like it's an illusion at least that is what I want, right? Don't just be out here. For one, you might be with somebody else's person, taking up somebody else's space. You know, get out of that relationship and find what you're looking for. But first, work on you. I'm talking about absolutely work on you. Make you the best you that you can be. Fall in love with yourself, right? Know that when you wake up, you know, you're a bad mother. You know, it feels good to be me, right? And at that point, you give that energy off, you know, and you attract that, right? If a woman sees that or a man sees that if you're a woman, they know where they're looking at, right? You know when you're looking at a high grade, you know, person, or you're looking at somebody that kind of hit and miss. You know, that's just from reading body language, energy, and the way they carry themselves. So, you know, don't date mindlessly. I don't. It's fun from like 16 to 23, maybe 24. We're gonna say 25. Get it right. 25. Y'all need to be doing something.
You're stepping on toes.
I apologize ahead of time.
No, don't apologize unapologetically,
Yeah.
because this show is about challenging perspectives. And the reason I started this show is because a lot of men and women are at the same spot they were in high school and middle school. So at this point, it is time to grow up. It is
Yeah.
time to be accountable. And also, part of accountability is realizing, wow, I'm dating to escape my
What?
potential. We
Yeah.
use dating as a distraction from who we are meant to be, and we
Yeah.
never really tap into our full potential. Also, for men who are not confident, how do they grow more confident so that they can date the women that they desire to date versus the women that are presented? Because let's keep it real, some people just date whoever. It's like, I'll date whoever wants me. I'm scared to talk to the girls I want. These
Uh,
grown men, y'all know it's y'all, some of y'all.
look, them. Equip yourself. Equip yourself, and I mean mentally equip yourself. I'm gonna go further. Weaponize yourself. Never use it as a weapon, but have it on you. Right? Go read you some books that motivate you. Read into other men's mindsets. I'm going to mention two books. Perfect Day to Boss Up, Rick Ross. I didn't realize this man was a business a business genius. 50 Cent also has a book. I think it's like Grind Harder, Work Harder, the news book he just released. And that man there is a playmaker. He talks about, look, being satisfied in the win, and now it's time for the next move, right? Don't be sitting there drinking the Kool-Aid. Don't be over there talking about this tastes good. Get on to your next goal and keep moving. You have a whole lifetime. Unless you plan to be, you know, going in the next week for whatever reasons, you know, you need to be focused on your 5 year, your 10 year, your 15 year. Personally, for a man, get in the mirror. Get in the mirror, face yourself. And I mean face that man. Look that beast in his eyes and let him know that we're in control. But mostly me, right? You've been running the show, but it's my turn, right? I've allowed you to make these decisions that per se haven't got us where we needed to be. But this is where I want to go, right? Right? Get in line. Let's go do this. That includes working out, right? Stop smoking so much during the daytime. You can smoke at night, right? Make sure your mind is sharp. Drinking, all that stuff, do that at night and on the weekends as well. You have a job, a goal. Treat yourself as if you were a business. What things would you allow your employees to do inside your workplace, right? These invest in yourself, clothes, hygiene, hygiene. Work on your hygiene, and as well as your aesthetic, right? Women notice things, right? Down to if your hair's kept up, right? I'm talking about your teeth are brushed, right? Your shoes, they're paying attention to everything. So make sure and that's at your level, and make sure you find the things that are at your level. I'm not talking about go out there and go rent some Maybach because you want to like you got a nice car. That's not real. That's not you, right? But if you do got that little that the scoop, go and wash her up. Make sure you keep her vacuumed out. Keep her the scents going in this thing. Revolve them a little bit, right? Clean them seats, right? Anytime and if you're dating, a woman will see these things. This is the way this man carries himself, right? If she comes to your place, make sure the clothes are washed and folded, right? At that point, she knows, look, it's two things. She gonna think it's a woman that already been there, or is this how he do it? One of the two. But you know, just make sure you're giving yourself your best shot. Give yourself the best shot. You know, and at that point, you know, you may not be in a relationship as you evolve and crack old ways and gain new ways, because it is a hard process. You know, it is a level of enlightenment that's involved in that. You have to be super honest and open with yourself. One of the biggest things that's in most of our ways is ourselves. We're the help as well as the hurt. We don't even know it. We refuse to look in the mirror. We refuse to face that fact. We refuse to accept that, hey, we fucking up, right? And it's time to get it together, you know. But that's a conversation that needs to be had. And I'm talking about in solitude. That's why I say get in the mirror. Make sure that you're being open and honest, because you'll lie to anybody. But this one person you can't lie to. They hear the thoughts. They know when you. you will lie, right? I'm talking about you feel it. So at that point, be honest with yourself and be able to tell yourself, look, there's more that we can be doing. And you know that, right? And give yourself that opportunity. I'm talking about, wouldn't you like to see your best self show up? The person that you envision
Absolutely.
your
Yes.
daydream. You know, I'm talking about you see it. You can see it sometimes. Go get that person. I'm talking about pull him straight or her straight into reality. And you know, I've had female friends that I'm talking about. I tell this, excuse my language. I say, look, be the bad bitch that you want to be, right? I'm talking about bring her out, put the heels on, put the makeup on, show her off, right? For one, that's going to start a confidence. You're going to see the eyes. You're going to feel it first, right? And at that point, you like that feeling, keep it up, make it a routine. And the same thing for guys. Eventually, you get yourself together. You'll notice, you know, the attention that you attract, and if you like that attention, you is that what you're seeking for, right? Keep it up the same way that you're doing that offbeat routine. You can keep that on beat routine that actually helps move you forward because you're going to evolve. I'm talking about the person that I was a year ago is not the person today. 6 months ago, 3 months ago, last month, I'm talking about strangers nearly because I'm always adding a package to it. Look, let's go. Books have been my biggest help. Books is where it is. And if you're not a real reader, get your audio book, Audible. Right. I travel a lot, so I just throw that boy on. I'm talking about I'll be in the car with whoever I'm in the car with now, you know, and I'm talking about they're educating me while I'm also driving. I'm adding to the package and just keep evolving, make yourself the best you. And I'm talking about you attract something at a higher level for sure.
Okay, so there's a quote. It says, "Money magnifies."
Hmm.
So money. A lot of people say money changes people, but really it magnifies who you really are. Now that you've acquired wealth, what are some ways you've grown, or some things that have changed in you that you weren't like before you acquired your wealth?
I'm sorry, what was it that I wasn't or was doing before I acquired my wealth?
You basically what was strengthened by your wealth that
Uh, Charity. I like helping. I don't, it's something wrong with me. I accept that's my humanity. I love helping. I love assisting. I love seeing somebody's potential and sharpening the pencil with them. Right. Let me show you how to sharpen it this way. Right. And maybe that helps you out. I've done a few things, and I won't mention most of them. You know, but I love giving back. I love helping my elders. I love helping those that are less fortunate. I love helping those that are, you know, the sauce and don't even know it. When I see it, I like, look, I got to, because that was me at one point, right? I was the sauce, but I per se didn't know you know, what I could be. So I love helping. I love giving back. Being honest, that got worse. Because you try not to not to beat around the bush. You know that doesn't help you. So I've gotten definitely more direct. My family, I love them all. That you know, I was the person that we had to get-togethers at my house. So now we have even bigger get-togethers. I'm able to gather more of us, have more times with each other, and enjoy our time. So those things like that magnify, but that works. Like you said, it does magnify. If that person is a poor person, I've seen it magnify the worst, right? Because you're focused on something that isn't of character. You're focused on physical paper. You're focused on numbers. And if you were a poor person only focused on numbers and you never had any good character about yourself, you're a pretty bad person. Cruella Deville out here. I'm talking about pretty bad. You know, nobody wants to be around that nonstop. And I've had my fair share. I've met Cruella a few times. You know, it's cool.
Mhm. And we'll talk. I got a couple more questions for you. So, the character of a man or the character of a woman, because you've been giving both men and women advice,
Yeah.
can men of character hang around men without character, or is it important to you to hang around men of character? And if so, why?
I'm gonna say this: birds of a feather flock together. All right, and if you don't know what that means that they like-minded people hang out. Right? You can't. And I'm sure you guys seen memes and quotes, right? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, and that absolutely means that. Now, I have childhood friends that are still where they were when we were at that age, right? And I'm not judging them, but it does get hard, right? What is there to truly talk about, right? What are we truly discussing? You know, back when we were 10 years younger, you know, remember, you know, the members. There's only so do you remember stories that you can have with somebody, and then as you start to progress and move forward, you don't want to go back to your old ways, right? That's just like somebody that may have a bad habit. If you're around somebody that has that bad habit, you're going backwards and not forward. And it's hard to kind of let that go. But those are one of the sacrifices of growth. Those are one of the sacrifices of success. Sometimes you have to leave people where they are, right? You can reach back and try to pull them up, but if they're not pulling with you, they're pulling you down. And you have to be willing to that's one of the sacrifices you have to be willing to have and do. Um,
Okay. So, last question. So, you seem to have mastered emotional intelligence. And for those of you who don't know what emotional intelligence is, it's making decisions based on your brain or your mind and how you think versus making decisions based on emotion. For those who make emotional decisions when it comes to dating as opposed to making it because it's the right decision, what advice would you give to those people to not make emotional decisions when dating? Like moving off of I care so much, I love so much versus this person isn't right for me. This I need to let it go.
for one, keep your mouth closed when you're feeling it. Right? When it's at its peak, shut up. I'm talking about clench your jaw and lock it in. If you feel it lit, shut up. I'm talking about hold it in. Wait till you're in a sound mind, right? And then discuss these things with yourself first, right? Make sure, because if not, if you expose that feeling and you're in the heat of the moment, all it's gonna take is one trigger, and at that point, it's two fools arguing, right? There's two people disagreeing that aren't making any sense. We're trying to aggravate each other, right? But let me get to my why am I feeling this first, right? What is actually going on? What's the problem? And once you're able to clearly identify the problem, I think now it's time for a conversation. If you jump into that trap, because that's what it is, if you jump into that trap of that disagreement or not being on that, where you need to be, I don't see a good spot there. Y'all gonna break up. I'm sorry. Eventually, y'all keep hitting that same spot, because some people emotions turn into physical, right? And at that point, you got something way bigger than what it needs to be. Instead of being able to take that time, and that's about eventually you're gonna feel like well, first off, you'll feel like you're losing that disagreement. You'll feel like you're losing that whatever that is. But truthfully, you'll watch slowly as you gain. Right, your partner will respect that. You know what, he did come and approach me in a better manner. We come in a better manner. It wasn't so erratic. It wasn't so, because men sometimes our tone goes up when we're aggravated. Our tone goes up when we're confused, right? We feel cornered, and women look genius level, mastermind level. I'm talking about. I've watched it happen. I got some friends I'll just bust out laughing. But I was like, "You good? You are really good." I'm talking about. It's you can bait a person into their worst side, right? But that's not good, right? You should now. This is for women. Don't do that to your man. If you know exactly where his button is, stop pressing the button. Put the button. You are actually the safekeeper of the button. You should only press that button when you need to press it to protect you and your man. Don't be pressing this button to aggravate him, right? Naturally, and this is something that I've read up on. I'm not going to give too many excuses. We know there is chemicals in our bodies, just like there's chemicals in women's bodies. That sometimes we are a bit more aggressive, right? Don't don't aggravate something that's already a bit beastly. Allow that man to stay in his humble mind, allow that man to stay enlightened, allow that man to continue to work on himself. Because the worst part about it, he doesn't tell you about, once you've disrupted him, he feels more like a failure now because he couldn't even keep himself, right? I tried my best and I still lost this fight, right? And to you, you think you've won, but you've truly lost your man because you've hurt him, in ways that he ain't gonna tell you. He's not telling you, but at this point, I can't talk to her. We ain't meet eye to eye. I tried, no matter what I do. When he gonna start giving you those keywords like that, at that point he feels defeated. So make sure you're giving him that support. I'm talking about, I don't know if y'all watched the Kanye's documentary. I caught a few snippets of it, but the way Donda, she it was so much life she was giving that man. And I'm talking about, I need me a Donda and a partner. I'm talking about, baby, you got this. I believe in you. I know you're doing it, and it benefits you. The better that man is, it usually, unless he's some type of professional fuckboy, if he usually, the more you invest in him, he will repay that. There's dividends coming back on that. If you put into him, he's going to return that favor back to you, because you are that person that's responsible for that growth. You're the person that I think about when I think about moving forward. Versus you're the person I think about why I ain't moving forward. Right? You're the reason. You're the reason I can't go where I need to go. You are now my hardship, my problem, the rock in the road, and you don't want to be that person. You want to be the person that, look, my partner had their hands on my back, pushing me the entire time. Right? On the days that I couldn't push myself, she kicked me across my back to get your ass up. Right? And that's what you needed. And that is, there's nothing that can match that. Nothing. I was at the casino. Sorry, I just was entertaining myself yesterday, and they were loose. I'm about going off to a couple, and I'm talking about, I thought they were arguing, and the lady just turned to her man and said, "Baby, I never argue with you. I'm always listening. You ain't got to worry about me." And I'm talking about in the same tone that arguing. And I'm like, yeah, I was drinking my drink. It threw me off. I said, wow. For her to humbly, in front of everybody, I'm saying the same crowd that she was being loud with, she let her know, "Baby, I'm behind you. You ain't got nothing to worry about out here." And I'm talking about, it threw me off because I'm like, I thought they were getting into a fight, but she made sure that everybody around her knew that I respect my man. And my man got my back the same way I got his. Right. And I'm talking about, I watched that man go from to at that point, the man, he's the beast zeroed out, right? It's no reason to be aggressive with her. Look, she's having a good time. I can zero down because I know she got my back. I know she still aligns with me. I know we still, meet on the same page.
Impactful interview. I enjoyed the knowledge. I enjoyed the straight no chaser approach, and I enjoyed the realness as well as the integrity of it all, because a lot of people, and I'll say this and I'll end it, but a lot of people, we've gotten to a place where we have no integrity, and it's almost become a men versus women battle of you're right and I'm wrong. But in order to thrive, we have to learn how to understand each other as well as communicate with each other. And sometimes we have to double down and say, you know what, I'm sorry when we're sorry or when we're wrong, and let it go.
Yeah, that's hard to do. That's part of growth. As you get older, you realize, like I said, you feel like you lost. To say I'm sorry in the middle of being wrong feels like up to about a good stab, but that's the immediate effect, right? But if you get a little while longer, let's say just 5-10 minutes, you'll watch that could have been argument is no longer an argument. That could have been, us ignoring each other and going our separate ways is now us having a new conversation and realizing that, you know what, that was stupid. And I'm glad you were able to talk to me like that. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to reach you, and your partner, look, I was able to see your growth, right? That feels good to you. I saw us growing, right? Instead of us being who we usually were. That feels a lot better than us being upset, hopping on Facebook, finding memes that support our stupid, and things like that. It feels a lot better. I'm talking about it's less dramatic, it's less public. Privacy is everything, people. Privacy is your superpower. You want to know how people do it? They shut up. They were very private about it. They got it done. They worked through their problems, and when they popped out, that's who you saw.
See, I may have to invite you back on the podcast. You are wow.
I'm ready. Next time I have better service. I know we had a bit of a hiccup. I'm in the country. I'm this fly bothering me. See that? I'm in the country of Mississippi. I'm on a construction project, and I'll be on back up, and I'm about anytime. But I do, since I got you on live, I'm having a birthday party. I'm turning 30 on September 11th, and I love to be there.
Okay, I'm there. I'm in the thing.
I definitely want to see you there. I'm having a few entertainers there, good music, good drinks, good people. So maybe you'll meet, you'll find somebody like-minded and you'll enjoy yourself. So you're definitely invited, and I'll send that through the inbox.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Say bye, C.
All right, see y'all later, and y'all have a good day.
Have a good one.
All right.